The day after my father was buried, my older brother changed the locks on the house and told me I had no right to be there. I was 19 years old, broke, grieving, and completely unprepared for what was about to happen. My father wasn't rich. Everything he owned came from decades of hard work. He spent his life making sure I had food on the table and a roof over my head. Then one night, without warning, a heart attack took him away from us. Just like that, the strongest man I'd ever known was gone. The morning after the funeral, I returned home expecting grief, expecting silence, expecting to begin figuring out life without him. Instead, I found a brand new lock on the front door. I checked my key 3 times. It wouldn't fit. That's when a terrible feeling settled into my stomach. I knocked once, then twice, then a 3rd time. Finally, the door opened. Standing there was my older brother, Daniel, and the first thing he said changed my life forever. "What are you doing here?" At first, I thought he was joking. I laughed nervously. "What do you mean? I live here." Daniel looked me directly in the eyes and smiled. "Not anymore." That's when I noticed the garbage bags, my clothes, my books, my entire life stuffed into trash bags like garbage. For a moment, I couldn't speak. My brain refused to process what was happening. "Dad wanted me to have the house," Daniel said. His voice was calm, like he was discussing the weather instead of destroying my life. "You don't know that," I snapped. "And even if he did, you can't just throw me out." Daniel shrugged. "You're 19. You're an adult. Figure it out." I looked around for help. Neighbors were watching. Everyone saw what was happening. Nobody said a word. Then Daniel tossed an envelope onto the bags. Inside was $50. $50. Apparently, that's what my brother thought my future was worth. I wasn't angry yet. Not really. Mostly, I was hurt. Hurt that someone who shared my blood could be this cruel. This was the same brother who taught me how to ride a bike. The same brother who used to protect me from bullies. Just days earlier, we'd sat together beside our father's hospital bed. Now he couldn't wait 24 hours before taking everything for himself. Without another word, Daniel stepped inside and closed the door. The sound echoed in my chest like a gunshot. And just like that, I was homeless, the day after burying my father. Sitting at that bus stop, I made a promise to myself. One day, I'd come back. Not for revenge, not for the house, but to prove Daniel had made the biggest mistake of his life. The first few years were brutal. I rented the cheapest room I could find, the kind of place where the walls were so thin you could hear every argument next door. Most nights, dinner was instant noodles. Some nights, it was nothing at all. I worked every job I could get. Security guard, warehouse worker, delivery driver, anything that paid. While everyone else slept, I studied business, sales, marketing, anything that might help me build a better future. Months became years. Years became habits, and those habits slowly changed my life. At 24, I landed my first real corporate job. It wasn't glamorous, but it was my first step forward. I worked harder than everyone else. Earlier mornings, later nights, more calls, more meetings, more effort. 2 years later, I got promoted, then promoted again. For the first time in my life, things were finally going my way. By the time I turned 26, I was earning more money than I ever thought possible. I had my own apartment, my own car, and most importantly, my own peace. Occasionally, I'd hear updates about Daniel. At first, it looked like life was treating him well too. New car, expensive vacations, fancy restaurants. Then he started making risky investments, bigger and bigger bets, chasing easy money. And eventually, those bets started going wrong. One bad investment became 2, then 3. Debt began piling up faster than he could handle. The house he fought so hard to steal was now being threatened by foreclosure. For the first time in his life, Daniel was running out of options. Then one afternoon, my assistant walked into my office and said 7 words that stopped me cold. "There's someone here asking for you." I asked who it was. The answer nearly made me laugh. His name is Daniel. 7 years. 7 years without a phone call. 7 years without an apology. I walked into the lobby and barely recognized him. The confident man who threw me out was gone. He looked older, tired, defeated, like life had spent years collecting a debt. We sat in silence for several seconds. Neither of us knew how to begin. Then he finally spoke. I need your help. He told me everything. The failed investments, the debt, the foreclosure, the collection agencies calling every day. His life had completely fallen apart. Then he said something I'll never forget. We're family. Family should help each other. Family. The word hit me harder than it should have. I remembered standing outside my childhood home holding garbage bags. I remembered the door closing in my face. And I remembered how family suddenly stopped mattering when I needed help. He looked at me with hope in his eyes, waiting for me to save him. I looked Daniel in the eyes and gave him the same advice he'd given me 7 years earlier. You're an adult. His expression immediately changed. Figure it out. For the first time in years, he had nothing to say. A few minutes later, he stood up and walked away. As I watched him leave, I realized something. Success wasn't getting revenge. Success was surviving the people who wanted you to fail. My brother stole my home, but in the end, he couldn't steal my future. The debt has been paid. Another story has been sealed inside the vindictive archive. If you enjoyed today's tale of revenge and karma, leave a like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, did they get what they deserved? Until the next entry, the archive remains open.